Good morning and welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. I am your host, Stacy Brown.
Happy holidays, all. I'm Neil Anderson. And of course, we have a lot of headlines to get through today. We have headlines on ICE, SNAP, Lizzo, Diddy, and we're going to talk about Trump's growing attack on women. We have that and so much more, Stacy. Lots to talk about.
You know what's funny? Yesterday we had a meeting with the Washington Informant staff was having a meeting, and we were talking about you, and nobody could remember your last name.
I
It's
love
like,
it.
no, but here's the thing. It was like and people was like, well, is it like Niel L.A.? Isn't that her last name? It's like two people said that.
That is, you know what, and they say that your name is being talked about in rooms you have no idea. And how about that?
Two of them, it was like 12 people in the meet. Two people was like, no, it's in the LA.
I am an Anderson.
I was
But
rolling.
when I was younger, I always wanted to be known by my name, not no last name needed, just Niel.
Look,
That
Dr.
was what
Nicole,
I coming out of high school, Niel. That was just it.
see, and that, well, I think Misha said she's just Nielle.
I like that, Misha. Thank you.
And Dr. Nicole says, dang, even I know her last name.
Thank you, Dr. Nicole.
What does our producer have for us this morning?
Very plainly as someone who is now in independent media. Independent media has no time for false equivalence. We don't have to insult our audience by pretending that both sides are the same when one side is grounded in truth and the other side is grounded in lies. We don't hand our platforms to people whose only purpose is to distort, distract, and demean. That is a luxury that legacy media might still indulge, but we will not. Because when our rights, our safety, and our humanity are under threat, telling the full story, our story, through platforms that we own and control isn't just important, it is essential. It is survival. It is how we honor the truth and protect our community in a world that too often benefits from our silence. And silence is no longer an option. Cameron Hall.
It's amazing when the chains come off, boy. And the chains came off Don when he left CNN. He took a minute, caught his breath, and found his lane, and he's thriving.
Yeah, he's thriving. I have my thoughts on that whole situation. I think I'm
Uh-oh,
gonna keep
I'm
them
a
to
sip
myself.
that.
I'm gonna keep them to myself. No, I'm glad that Don is finding his space and regaining his footsteps after what happened to him at CNN, and he has been an ally of the Black community. But I just find it interesting now how he's just all in. But at the same time, when you see his team all around him, you see no color.
Oh, see? And that's an issue. That is that. See, I'm with you.
And how
When it comes to
all
that.
these black outlets are lifting him up when there are 10 times more black outlets that are unapologetically truly black, and they're not invited to the table. I think that is like that church basement conversation that black folks needs to have amongst each other.
Well, yeah, we see that, and not just in that particular space with Don, but so many others where you see a sea of white and others surrounding the black guy or the black woman. So you got a good point there, but his message though is on point.
No,
His
I
message is
love
well
the
on
way
point.
he hits. I love the way that he hits the streets. I think that all of that corporate media grooming has made him a great producer in knowing how to be boots on the ground with the people. I mean, I think he has taken that to the next level. And so, I mean, like I said, it's like, I have mixed emotions about the elimination.
She has mixed emotions, folks. The lemon nation, you said? He's a lemon heads.
Yeah, I'm a lemon head. And then Tuesday I'm a cherry chain.
Oh gosh, okay, there you go. But I think too, the point of one side or the other. See, journalists, and I still like to look at myself as somebody who, and I know I am. I'm just not. I don't. It doesn't matter isn't it Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter as long as you are doing the bidding of the people, right? I don't care. But they have put, and Don kind of said it there. They've put people in a spot, journalists in a spot where you got to tell the truth. You should want to tell the truth. And if it makes one side looks horrible, it makes that one side look horrible. And what the red people are doing, the GOP, it's as journalists, you got to report that stuff. And what they're doing is horrible. It's
Mhm.
absolutely disgusting in a lot of ways what they're doing. So, you know, look, just today I saw Don Jr. got a government contract. His business got a government contract for $600 million. Come on,
Yeah.
it's too much. So I like what the message was, but I hear what you're saying for sure. Also, this morning, ICE folks is spiraling into dysfunction as if
Mm.
it already isn't in dysfunction. The Trump administration's rush to hire 10,000 new officers has produced recruits who can't meet even basic standards. Government reports show applicants failing open book tests, showing up with gang tattoos, or even facing criminal charges. In fact, the Daily Mail newspaper found that one recruit weighed 469 pounds and arrived with a doctor's note stating he was unfit for any physical activity, but still got the job as an ICE agent. This is what's
Inter-
going on with ICE.
that's interesting because we saw Hexeth as well as Trump talk about, no oversized people in the military.
Right.
And so that's just interesting. But I mean, we know half of ISIS clan and alt-right and
Mhm.
whoever else decides that, I could wake up this today and say, you know what, I'm gonna go put on a mask, I'm gonna order me an ice jacket, and do the work of ICE. And I bet you if I picked up 4 or 5 people and dropped them off at the detention center, they would intake them. I mean,
Oh,
that is
absolutely.
just how simple they are right now, and how
That is true.
dangerous that is, and how dangerous that is.
Yep. You're absolutely right. And it's so much. They said dysfunction. I think there's a lot of other words you can you can use to describe it. Orangey says that was a 400-pound person. That 400-pound person is an iceberg. Um, I, it's like, but it shows you. I think a 469-pound person going to apply for ICE, it shows you just how unserious it is for this administration is. And also it shows you that people see that, and they figure as long as you're MAGA, and they're right, as long as you're MAGA, as long as you have, like you said, if you have some sort of clan affiliation, or affection for that type of behavior, you can get the job.
And it's funny, like to me, he's considered diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Because and it's like that they want to have all of these mandates for SNAP. They want to have all these mandates for student loans. They want to have all these mandates for college institutions. But then you have a scenario like this.
Yeah.
Make it make sense, Trump
It
plan.
doesn't. It will never make sense. And also, in addition to that, you're talking about the facilities. The facilities are unlivable for the most part, is what the government report found. They're
Right.
unlivable.
Yeah, and they
Um,
do things like leave the bright lights on all night, right?
yep, yep,
They
exactly.
they do like war tactics, like what you do when you're a prisoner of war and they want to get information out of you.
Yep,
They'll leave the lights on. I mean, not just lights, but bright lights on all night. They might play loud music. They're doing, wartime prisoner activity on just, regular, undocumented, regular citizens. It's
Yep.
horrible.
And we still don't know, and no one talks about it anymore. I don't really see anybody talking about it. What happened to those people at Alligator Alley or whatever they called it in Florida?
And all the money wasted on it. And then remember, they were building another facility in Florida. Just money wasted.
Yep. Yep. This is what they do. Also in this wild, wacky, and certainly corrupt administration, it indicated that it will begin withholding SNAP benefits from recipients in most Democratic-led states starting next week after those states refuse to provide the Agriculture Department with data including recipients' names and immigration statuses. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said during a cabinet meeting that 29 Republican led states have complied, but that 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, have refused to provide the data which was requested in February. Um, the states don't want to turn certain information over. They've never had to turn over certain information, but they also know that uh, everybody's data has been compromised. So to give to do this is to compromise even more people.
And they know that white terrorists are leading this nation. And
Yep.
so they're protecting their state and the constituents that live in it. And I'm glad that they are,
Hmm.
because Trump clan with our information is dangerous. And
Very
I
much
think,
so.
that's the narrative that I would really like to see. We were talking about journalists, and talking about the real things, like white terrorists are running this nation.
Yeah.
The Klan
Yeah.
is running the nation.
Yep. And like I said at the top, Donald Trump Jr. getting a $600 million government contract again, right in front of your face. More and more corruption.
Okay, and then this week, Jared Kushner eating caviar with Putin. Top of the week.
Yep.
Real estate tycoon. Now he's a worldwide, I mean, in a major way, a major player, because Donald Trump runs the country. So he could told. And so that's something that we saw. We saw Jared Kushner eating caviar with Putin. Well, we saw the headline about the caviar, but we did see him with Putin. But what about all of the other countries he's invading that we don't know about? It's the
Oh, it
it's
go
the press release. It's the press that we don't see
don't
as they
see. Yep.
told around the world.
Absolutely. I always go back to the one thing that I agreed this year with Barack Obama that stands out for me, I should say, when he said, "Imagine had I did any of this," and that was early on. That was
Yeah.
like back in the spring when he said that.
But even imagine if Bill Clinton would have, okay? I mean, it's just, I mean,
Right.
remember when his wife was trying to get us health care? Before Obama, let's not forget it was Hillary Clinton. And they dragged her. It
Yeah.
was like, you have an
Yeah.
office to do first lady things. You don't have an office to do policy.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that well. Exactly. Listen, even George W. He would not have been able, with Dick Cheney at his side. He would not have been able to do half
No.
this stuff. So,
Dick Cheney did all of his stuff like most of what the Trump boys and the Kushners are doing now. He did it in secret. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? He did it in
yeah.
secret.
Well, Dick Cheney will take you out to the to hunting, and you'll be the prey. So,
But remember how we thought he was horrible? We didn't realize it could get worse.
yeah, yeah, you're right. I'll leave it at that. And more fallout from this DE&I situation. AT&T has now pledged to shut down all diversity, equity, and inclusion roles as it seeks the Trump-controlled FCC's approval for a $1.2 billion spectrum deal. This is not a quiet policy shift. It is part of an aggressive federal push where the FCC chair installed by Trump is conditioning major telecom transactions on the elimination of DE&I across the country. T-Mobile and Verizon have already complied, and now AT&T says we're going to comply too.
because they want the spectrum deal.
Yeah, yeah,
And they're doing it right in our faces. And I think,
exactly.
this is like where, consumers, we're not really, owning our power. We're not owning our power. And I'm trying to figure out when this shift will really happen, when we understand that. I mean, I'm a Spectrum holder and I'm an AT&T holder.
Hmm.
Wouldn't that be amazing if all of us AT&T, people, and Spectrum, we just said, hey, no, we're not gonna do
Well,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go
So,
give me a Boost mobile phone.
there you go. There you go. All of the focus have been on like Target, but these other companies, my gosh, what
Dr.
they what
Boyce Watkins brought that up yesterday. He was like, it's strange to him that we're only focused on Target, and he listed all of like maybe 20 other companies, and he was like, why are we just focused on Target? I don't know if he was taking a shot at Jamal Bryant, but he posted that within the past 4 or 5 days. I saw it.
yeah, because if you focus on one entity and it's like anything, if you only focus on one thing, so many other things passes you by. And or you miss so many other things. This is really something that they're saying, look, we going with Trump because we want this deal.
Right, right.
So again, to me again, it brings it back to previous conversations we've had. We folks need to really focus on supporting each other.
And recycling black dollars. Our dollar is the least to be recycled. Asians recycle their dollar like 10, 12 times. The Latinos, they recycle their their, Latino or Mexican dollars here in LA. Um, but we are the least to recycle our dollars.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
believe that's
exactly.
by design. I saw Mike V said, but what does DEI have to do with the merger? It seems so spiteful. And I really think that these people don't care so much about, I don't think they have a problem with DEI. It's all about what they're trying to gain. And Donald Trump is using the FCC as a weapon. If you don't do what I say, then you're not going to get what you want. And
Hmm.
so the corporate executives say, the hell with the people. We want Spectrum. And so if they want us to get rid of our community department, that's what we're going to do.
Right,
If they
right.
want us to get rid of, whatever department within our company, if that's what Donald Trump wants for us to get this merger, they're going to cut it.
There you go. Um, let's try this one on for size. Niel Lizzo thinks everyone should be canceled at least once. She says, "Live like the internet doesn't exist after being." She says she lived like the internet doesn't exist after she was canceled. As she says, more times than she can count on one hand. She opened up. In a story published by the Grio, and she recalled the wave of backlash that she faced in 2019 after wearing a revealing courtside outfit to a Lakers game. It looked that featured cutout pants and a custom black thong. During the game, she was actually invited onto the court by the Laker cheerleaders to dance to one of her songs, and she remembers the arena erupting in applause and support. But by the next morning, she said the narrative had been flipped. So um, live like the internet doesn't exist. Greer says she agrees with that. And listen, I don't have a problem with that either. But this idea of being canceled, should everyone? I mean, what do you think about her advice there?
I mean, well, like that's rich people cancel. When you lose your job, look, when people lose their job, they cancel. So I mean, you can get canceled on multiple levels, homegirl. It's not just about the internet. You know what I'm saying? Who cares if you're canceled on the internet? What's more important, you don't get canceled on your job. I mean, there's levels to being canceled. You could be in the choir and can't sing, and they say, okay, maybe you should usher. That's being canceled. There are multiple levels of being canceled in this life. But I remember that game, the flip to the game, and I thought she was doing way too much. I mean, I wouldn't say I canceled her, but I thought it was very inappropriate. Now, if
But
you
isn't
call
it?
that being canceled because what you did was inappropriate, maybe you should have checked what you did. Did she do the splits too? And then she had her booty cheeks all on the seat. Other people have to sit there. I mean, girl.
But as Greer points out, this is this canceled. This is celebrity talk, right? And so
Right.
celebrities.
Yes.
But
Her
you
cancel
know
ain't
that
our cancel.
right, but that's not the only reason why she was canceled, right? Wasn't she that whole thing with her dancers and stuff, the lawsuits and all that
Yeah.
started coming out about how she was treating them? That
Yeah.
wasn't that the basis of her? I
Yeah,
didn't
that
know
was the
that.
base. Yeah. You're
Okay.
right. You're right. You're right. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the bottom line, people go through shit. Okay. We all go through a situation to where, cancel is relative. You know what I'm saying? She's basing this all on, I guess, social media because that is part of her business. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's bubble talk. I'm
That's
sorry,
cool.
bubble talk. Like, people like they're in the clouds. She's in the bubble. That's bubble talk.
Mike V says when she twerked in front of Kobe and his daughters at the halftime show, she should have been canceled.
Yeah, I agree 100%. At least from
she
that game.
she seemed to have went through a period there, and this wasn't that long ago, right? Where just seemed to be really out of control almost. I mean, like she was just doing stuff that just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, I think it was more so about her writing for, big girls, which was a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? And so she was saying that you could be voluptuous, you know what I'm saying? Have meat on you, and it's fine. And everybody was like, okay. But then she turned around and went on Uncle Zip It and lost. So it's like, girl, pick a side.
I was gonna say that. Didn't she turn around and get the shot after all of that?
Right. And now she
Oh
want to talk about
God.
being canceled. I thought you was
Oh
riding
boy.
for the big girls. And it was a beautiful thing to see. We love to see Liza with her voluptuous body playing that flute, and it was like, okay, she was new, she was refreshing,
Oh man.
but we also too didn't want to see her twerk like if twerking in front of Kobe's daughters and doing the splits and all of that. That was a bit much.
It was a bit much. You know what we didn't talk, and I don't know if you plan to talk about this at all. So if you do, stop me. Megan Thee Stallion.
No. Mm-mm.
So she won her lawsuit, but then the judge reduced it just yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, he threw out one of the wins that she had against the I guess the blogger or whoever it was that offended her.
Mm-hmm.
But I I think doesn't you think it's time that folks leave that incident with Troy with what's his name, Tory
Tory
Lanez,
Lanez.
just leave it alone? Leave her alone about it anyway?
Well, because there's a lot of mixed reviews on the streets. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Some people are team Megan, some people are team Tory. Some people knew, during COVID, there was a lot of drinking and drugs going on. Okay. The statistics show the alcohol sales went up and you saw it happening. And so there are two stories going on there. I'm not involved in any of it, but I think that's why you still see so much going on because everybody doesn't think that Meg the Stallion is a victim.
She
I'm
was
not saying
shot.
that she every
Somebody shot her.
I just said what I said. Everybody doesn't believe that Meg the Stallion is a victim. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in
No, I
response to
know.
what you said about
Mhm.
don't you think it's time to leave it alone?
Yeah.
Well, there's a man still in prison who some people believe was scapegoated or railroaded.
Okay, so they don't believe. There's people who believe that he didn't shoot her. Somebody shot her. She didn't shoot herself, right? Is that a
No,
thought
she,
out there?
you know,
I'm
I'm
just
not
trying. I
gonna
don't
get
know.
involved. They say she had bullet fragments in her feet. But some people say it was Tory. Some people say that it wasn't. Some people say it was an accident. Some people say that went Meg went back for Tory. She went back. There was a lot, like I said, there was a lot of drugs that night.
Mhm.
There was a lot of
But
alcohol that night. She
but
got
somebody
kicked
did
out of
something illegal, and
she
they
got
fired
kicked.
a
They were
shot.
all doing illegal things. They were doing illegal drugs. Meg was
So-
sleeping with her friends, man. Kylie Jenner kicked her out the house because she was out of pocket. And
Kylie Jenner.
instead of leaving and going home, Meg went back for the smoke and she got it in her toe. I
She
don't
got
know
it.
who did it. I don't know who did it. I don't know who. I don't know what happened. But I'm just saying that there are two sides to the story.
Right, but the one fact we know for sure is that she was shot in the foot, right? Somebody shot her in
Yes,
the foot.
yeah. They said she had fragments in her feet,
Okay, so even
fragments.
that's in question is what I'm hearing, from you. Is
It
that
was
even
just a
even
wild.
that's
It
in
was a
question. Okay.
wild night. It
Okay.
was a
See, I don't
wild
know. I don't know.
night.
I don't know. And so it sounds like, there's a lot.
And since we're talking about it, you have to understand Tory Lanez already had a short man's complex.
Napoleon.
And Napoleon. Okay. And one of the things that pissed Meg off, I remember that night. It was a COVID night and live was popping. Okay. All we had was Instagram. Like either you were looking at D Nice or you were looking at Tory Lanez live because he was a little
Mhm.
risque. But that night they were loaded and we didn't realize that Meg was sleeping with Tory. And Meg got mad at the way that he was engaging with Kylie. Okay. And so when she went back to get him, I can imagine how she tried to berate him in that car.
Mm.
I can imagine. And I'm not saying by no means am I saying
Right.
that justified her getting shot.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm just understanding that when you mix alcohol, when you mix drugs, and you talk to a short man out of pocket, that's all I'm saying.
So a couple quick things. Um Aquarius says there's a vertically challenged man in prison as he should be. End of story. Um, First problem, RNG says she was around a Kardashian. I would rather ride with OJ to Nicole's house before I hang out with a Kardashian.
Oh,
Um,
I hang out
let
with
me
a
tell you something.
Kardashian. Let me tell you
It,
something. Them
it
girls got money and they do it
uh,
big. Okay. I would love to go to Chris Jenner's Christmas party. Okay. I'm accepting the invitation.
let me tell you, if Kylie Jenner ever talk about throwing me out of somewhere, please, that you gotta be to me. You gotta. All right, let's move on.
They love black people. They love us to death.
Oh, I
Um,
know they do. They done built the fortune off of us, pretty
right.
much.
Yesterday, Kim and her mama was hanging and putting Instagram videos and TikTok videos with her, Snoop, and her mama. Now
I saw a
I'm
clip of him on Law and Order with Ice T.
Oh yeah, and not to mention Snoop and Daz Dillinger, his cousin, they are going at it. Oh, they're going at it. That's a whole nother story.
Oh gosh, everything is going at it in California. What's going on
No,
with Snoop?
this week has been a crazy week. You have Ray J, Beyonce, and
Hey, what happened with Beyonce? What she do?
well, basically Ray J went off. Well, he politely went on live this week and said, basically, this is what he said. Beyonce and Jay-Z, you didn't been to my sister's concert at least 5 times, and you didn't spoke to everybody but her. We love you and we respect you. But in a nutshell, he said, you show up to that concert one more time
Uh-oh.
and I speak to my sister. The next live is not going to be so polite. That's what I read in between them lines.
Oh. Well, do we know that that's fact that they didn't they spoke to everybody except Brandy?
Well, yeah, well, he said it, and he was like, you have to
Wow.
see the video."
Why
I
would they
think
do that?
I think that the tipping point, I think it was fine. I think the tipping point was the picture with Beyonce, Monica, Kelly,
I saw
Solange,
that.
and Patti LaBelle.
I
I
saw
think
that.
that was the tipping point, because at that point it is like you didn't been to the concert and you didn't spoke to everybody. And he even said, don't walk by the dressing room no more and not speak.
Yes, that's disrespectful. If they're doing that, that's you gotta say that's disrespectful. But maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's a beef. If there's a beef, even if there's a beef, then why even show up?
Well,
I mean, I know the other girls are there.
I'm hoping that Beyonce, there's a picture somewhere. I don't know, but I don't think Ray J would go live
He's
and
not all there. Come
but
on
I don't
now.
think that he would go live and knowing that Beyonce spoke. I think that we were all Ray J basically said what we were all thinking. Like,
Okay.
this is interesting. I don't see any pictures with Brandy. Okay, there's Monica. Where's Brandy? And then another point was how Beyonce was coming to the shows dressed, and that's basically um how Brandy's been dressing at the shows with the suit and tie look. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know
Oh
what's
God,
going
something's
on.
going on.
I don't know what's going on, but Ray J politely said, "We respect y'all. We love y'all. You guys are our mentors. We look up to you. Why you ain't hollered at my sister? And you
Now,
didn't been
now,
to her concert."
now, watch. Brandy's gonna make a surprise appearance with Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. Watch.
Yeah.
All the drama.
Well,
All the
if
drama.
she don't speak Spanish, it's not gonna work.
All the drama building up to something.
Okay, so you have that story. The other
Uh-huh.
story that's trending is Candy Burris and Todd Tucker. Okay,
Okay.
what seemed like a polite gesture of a fair split. Now Todd is saying that he wants full custody of the kids, which I don't really have a problem with, because Candy is on the road a lot, and I do think that he's probably the primary caregiver. But now he's questioning the prenup that we all watched when they got married. So
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about these people. I see their names on Candy and them. Then we have somebody from one of the Real Housewives on the show. Yeah, we did. From Atlanta, a couple of years ago. Was it, Phaedra Parks is who we had on.
Her name is Phaedra.
Phaedra. Phaedra. But see, I don't know much about this whole Real Housewife stuff. But didn't I see something where is it Candy who is now dating a woman?
That's all allegedly. They said that they had a threesome relationship and Candy is now with the woman. But also they're saying that Candy caught Todd, saw some text messages with other women. And then there's also the factor of all of their Atlanta businesses are pretty much closed and she's in lawsuits. So like Old Lady Gang, the steakhouse, these are investments that Todd wanted Candy to participate in, and she did. And, if he was in charge of all of these businesses and they all have folded and she's still fighting lawsuits, that can wear and tear on the marriage too. Like,
Okay.
I gave you this to manage and you can't even handle that.
What about this idea that he has another woman pregnant right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many topics swirling, and I think that it's gonna all come out
Mhm.
because they're being polite, but they're also being like, it's a nice, nasty situation happening right
Well,
now. So,
Michelle Madison, she says Candy Burris is a hot mess, and so is her mama.
oh well, Mama Joyce already told us about Todd, so she's coming around the corner to in a minute she's gonna speak. But yesterday, Candy posted this I'm depressed, but I'm a survivor type thing. And all the ladies rushed to show her love, like all of her friends. You had Tamar Braxton, who is also trending this week because her and Funky Dineva are going at it.
Oh
This week is a
Lord,
hot mess, okay? It's a hot mess happening.
opened up a can of worms here because this.
It's a hot mess.
And y'all can tell Nielle is she is plugged in on all this stuff.
Well, I have to know what's happening. It's part
I
of my
know.
job.
I know.
I have to know these things. I'd prefer to talk about politics, but a little mindless behavior. Now, these two, woo, child. Now,
Oh
it
God.
takes
Here we go.
Funky Dineva. I might have to get Funky on the show. It takes him to read Tamar. I mean, when I tell you, I do not want to get on his bad side.
Hey,
And we're praying for Funky
about the way
Dineva
they
because,
raised you,
oh, there
or
he
didn't
go.
raise you, got you fucked up.
In her recent post about Tamar Braxton, she claims that Tamar was her parents' biggest mistake, swears up and down that they did not raise her properly, and claims that there's something psychiatric going on with Tamar.
I'm gonna take it a step further. You
Oh yeah, you
believe
gotta
it,
hear you gotta hear Funky Dineva. But we want to send prayers to Funky Dineva because he did report last week that he does have prostate cancer. They've
Ooh,
caught it in the early stages, but he was
that's
still
good.
processing it. And then he came out the weekend and he went straight for Tamar. And he said Tamar was messing around with Mandisi, which is Yandy Smith's husband from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
This stuff staged. Some of this stuff got to be staged, right? For the ratings or something for these
Well,
Real Housewives shows.
well, Tamar is not a housewife.
Oh, okay, okay.
She's not a housewife, but something's going on with her and Mandisi. Yandy hasn't spoken yet. Funky Dineva, I don't know what's going on between Tamar and Funky Dineva, but to say that Tamar was her mama's mistake.
See, you was talking about somebody's mama the other day. Now somebody else talking about somebody else's mama. Y'all know that those are fighting words when you say your mama.
Your mama, Trump's mama for sure.
Look what Mike V is asking you.
What's going on with Big U's son? Well, his son is unfortunately unalived. He's dead.
Oh,
Yeah, his son was murdered. I believe it was Halloween night. And he did ask a judge to allow him to attend his son's funeral, and the judge denied it. But he was able to watch a live stream of the funeral. I don't know if he watched it or not, but the judge did allow that to happen.
oh wow.
But he's still in prison. I mean, still in jail. I think he's still at the county jail.
Oh, okay. How long you been there?
Since he got arrested for all types of things.
Woo. Mary J said no drama.
Yeah, I remember when I
all the
was at
drama.
K-Day, Big U used to come up there. Big U, he was a bully. He used to bully the PD. There was nothing that Big U would come to the station. He'd get all the tickets if he wanted his artist on the radio. And he used to bully allegedly when basketball players and artists came into the city. He would like tax them. Like you have, or you show up somewhere and we gonna get you, or we could rob you, whatever. So yeah, it's a lot swarming around Big U, but he was a bully and he was a community guy, like most hustlers.
Okay.
Yes, Michelle Madison. I do watch Housewives of Potomac. Wendy Osefo is a colleague of mine. I won't say she's a friend, but yeah, we've had text each other. I booked her on several shows, and yeah, I just hate that she lives up to that Nigerian what do you call it? Lives up to the what they say about Nigerians. I hate that for her. I hate that for her.
Okay. She's a mess, is what Greer says. Greer says they said that going back to Big U, they said he was still in the streets and gangbanging, and then Big U went to the police and they didn't let him go.
Well, but like I said, but on the flip side, Big U had a really big community initiative out here, and he funded a football little league. He had his son played for the Chargers. He was a part of the Chargers community outreach, and they would fund a lot of his camps for football players, and he would take the kids to the games and stuff. So, I mean, it was two different sides to him.
Good night. Okay.
Oh, but to put a pin in Wendy. So Wendy and her husband according to several reports, appeared in court day before yesterday, and the judge said that at first they were going to be charged separately. Now her and her husband are going to be charged together.
Oh, okay.
What else y'all want to know? No, I'm just
look at their mug shots. It's like, hey, we all
and
right.
they and so on Sunday's episode of Potomac, I mean, they didn't make Wendy look good at all because her mother was talking about how much money she's spending and get 2 chandeliers and where's my allowance. And so it just doesn't make her look good at all. It just really doesn't.
This is hilarious to me. Wow. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, I'm like, should we talk about Diddy now, or should we talk about no? You want to talk about Diddy now? No, we'll get to Diddy in a minute because there's a couple of headlines that are happening of how the Trump clan is, messing with women. Okay, and we'll start with the University of Alabama, where 2 university-funded student magazines have been suspended, citing a federal memo on DEI. Now, the publications include Alice, a fashion and wellness magazine that primarily covers women, and 1956, a magazine that covers Black student life and culture. Now, they both were launched between 2015 and 2020, according to the university's newspaper. Now, Gabrielle Gunter, the editor-in-chief of Alice, said she was in the process of putting together its next issue when the team received the news. And Kendall Wright, the editor-in-chief of 1956, said she was deeply saddened by the university's decision to suspend the magazine. And this is all, remember, because of the compact that Trump and the Department of Justice said, if you don't adhere to these things and take these DEIs out and not let these students, protest and things like that, then you'll get your funding. And so Alabama is saying, hey, we're going to do what he says. And so now these 2 magazines have been pulled from and suspended from the university.
Once again, all you need to know about this clan.
And then, you had in another red state, let's move over to Texas, where the comptroller's office has announced it is removing women and minority-owned businesses from its historically underutilized business program. Okay. Now, the program was intended to give additional exposure to businesses owned by economically disadvantaged groups, women. Now it will be renamed the Veteran Heroes United Business Program, or Vet Hub. Only veterans with 20% or higher service connected to disabilities will be eligible.
Again, what it's where we are.
So I'm just thinking about, I want to know how white women feel about all this, because now, it was minorities, but now women are minorities, but it's just not Black women. It's white women too. So now he's taking your funding too. So how do they feel about this?
Yeah, I would love to hear that. RNG says, once again, the university going back to Alabama, I guess, will not say anything about the diversity in their athletic department. Black bodies making millions for that university.
Let's talk about that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So now the Trump clan is coming after women. Which, I think about that whole Esther project that, so they're continuing to roll out and make these changes. So, we need to really enjoy the holiday season because we're going to have to buckle up for next year for sure. And finally, let's talk a little bit of Diddy. Now, Diddy's lawyers have sent a cease and desist to Netflix, alleging stolen footage appearing in the 50 Cent documentary. In a statement, a spokesperson for Combs accused Netflix of using stolen footage that was never authorized for release. Now, I watched the whole thing yesterday for work purposes because I did it for work purposes. It was brilliantly done. I mean, well put together documentary. And the footage that they have that he's talking about was footage that was 10 days before. So it was the 10 days leading up to Diddy's
Hmm.
arrest. I mean, and it was very clear. I mean, you got in-depth insight. And the documentary is called Reckoning. And so you're thinking that this is going to be about, the whole trial. No, this is about Diddy from when he was a backup dancer before he even got to Uptown. And it talked about, the Shine situation. It talked about the Tupac situation. And it basically said that it was Diddy who had something to do with Tupac's death. And when I watched that, I was like, Diddy better be careful because oh boy, Keefe goes to trial next year for Tupac's murder. I've seen it happen to dudes on the streets out here to where they'll arrest you for one thing and then you'll turn around and get a murder slapped on you. So Diddy better be careful.
So I want to go back to the footage part of it. And there's a lot of controversy about that. I got a email from attorney Marjorie Messidor, founding partner of Messidor PLLC. And this is what Marjorie says about the footage as far as legal. And they're sending that cease and desist letter. She says that this was footage, like you said, days before his arrest. His team claims that this was stolen or private property. Attorney-client privilege usually evaporates when a third party, like a videographer, is present. If Diddy hired a video guy to document his life, he may have inadvertently waived his right to keep those legal strategy sessions private. So, and as far as NDAs versus subpoenas, she says even if the video guy signed a strict NDA, NDAs generally cannot be used to obstruct justice or hide evidence of a crime. If Netflix or the producers obtained the footage legally, or if it was subpoenaed, the NDA might be toothless in stopping the release, though the leaker could still face civil liability for breach of contract. But I was wondering, he's talking to his attorneys on the phone. That's the clips I've seen, right? And he's being filmed. He knows he's being filmed. He's got to know.
Oh yeah, no, he knows he says that
Right.
he was documenting it. All of it was being documented.
Right.
I've saw some videos that was like 50's baby, 50 Cent's baby mama is the one that helped get him the footage. And the Diddy well is dried up. So let me go back to my baby daddy. I know who did the filming. Paul, oh boy, he got the footage. That's one video I saw. But it was well put together. And Netflix said, we're not adhering to your cease and desist.
Yeah,
it
because
has no merit. It has no merit. And
this is what the attorney Marjorie Messidor she messaged that went out the window with the videographer.
And I'm sure that if Netflix felt like it would be an issue, that they wouldn't have aired it. But the fact that Netflix said, sorry, we're airing it. It is well done. Okay. It's like, it's kind of like that Eddie Murphy. By like the fourth one, I was like, okay, we're at the point where everything they're talking about, I didn't see it done. The first two episodes are the ones that I think that will draw you in, like that Eddie Murphy documentary, because it talks about, how Diddy became the person that he was, and even the relationship between him and Biggie, and in his relationship with the Crips out here in LA, and the people that helped start Bad Boy Records. I mean, the detail of what was happening inside. I mean, in Audrey Day, nobody cares about what she was talking about. We didn't realize Puffy was that much of a menace. We looked at Suge Knight. We looked at Suge Knight as, the bully. But Diddy was the sneaky one because he knew how to present himself to us as squeaky clean, the party guy. That's who we want to be with. Suge Knight's the bully. But really, Diddy was just as bad as Suge Knight, according to that documentary.
Right. And I was going to say, somebody, I forgot who wrote this, said that after watching the documentary, you realize that, man, Diddy was far worse than Suge Knight, and
Yeah,
nobody could believe
100%.
it.
100%. 100.
And I was never
100%.
one to think that Diddy was this clean cut, nice guy anyway. I always thought he was what he turned out to be. None of this surprises me about him. None of it. By the way, I was laughing because Greer talks about, she knows how broke I am, so she says I can borrow her Netflix account. She said, "I got you, bro."
But and thinking of 50 Cent, watching it, I was like, this dude really lives the 48 laws of power. I don't know if you've ever read the book 48 Laws of Power by Michael Green, and no, Robert Greene. And he even collaborated with 50 Cent 48 Laws of Power. But the 15th law is crush your enemies totally. And that's what he did with that documentary, because he told Diddy's story better than Diddy could tell it when he got out. You know what I'm saying? He told that, he crushed Diddy with that documentary.
So maybe that answers the $1 million question, like why 50 Cent has been such a huge troller of Diddy throughout this and still is. So maybe that's the reason, what you just said.
Oh my gosh, he crushed him. He crushed him because he gave us the side of Diddy that we didn't see, and it was told by people like one of the producers. I remember that name back in the day, like on Hitmakers. The co-founder of Bad Boys that Diddy started Bad Boys with. He was telling the stories in detail. Like the whole situation of when they came back to LA after Tupac's murder. And even the Crips was like, dude, y'all can't just be out here walking like this. But Diddy wanted to come to LA and like, this my city now. And Biggie was supposed to be on his way back to Europe, but he wanted to throw a party to be like, we the top-notch people now. And it even talked about the affiliation from some drug dealer in New York that hooked Puffy up with the Crips, because Tupac and them was with the Bloods and Suge. It was things that you never even considered.
Well, and Greer is probably, well, I'm not even gonna say probably. Greer's right. 50 knew he had this project. She says you can't produce a quality documentary overnight. 50 had been keeping people engaged all this time because he knew this was coming. Had to. That is wow.
The one thing that I walked away with was that Diddy should be very concerned about that Tupac trial next year.
Yeah.
He better hope he gets out of prison before anything happens, because if they can find a way to tie him to Tupac's murder, he's never getting out of prison. Never. I have a friend in prison right now. Same type of scenario happened to him. If they find a way to connect the dots, and the guy that is on trial for Tupac's murder, he's in the documentary and he tells you what happened that night. And he said that he was in a room with Diddy, and this is all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna let y'all watch it. He was in a room with Diddy and a whole bunch of Crips, and Diddy put a bounty on Suge and Tupac's head. And the dude was like, I couldn't believe he said that in front of all the Crips. He promised. He said he put $1 million bounty out, and they said he only cashed out $500,000 because Suge wasn't murdered. And then the dude never got the money because the middleman took it.
Wow. The problem, see, what this guy Diddy made all this money on top of the game, and then why you got to bring the hood, the gangster stuff with you? Why? And now it's crazy. You're in the music industry. You're supposed to be entertaining people.
And it also reminded us just how many times Diddy had problems with the law. He had beat the Shine case. You forget
Right,
about that.
right.
He
Oh
beat
no,
the
with
Shine
Jennifer
case.
Lopez. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so he went to trial for that. Then prior to that, I had forgot about this, but remember the basketball game that him and Heavy D did?
Yes, yes.
You know what I'm
That's the
saying?
first time I ever heard of Puff Daddy at the time.
And Eric Sermon said that is when Puffy was, put into the limelight. That's when he became Puff
Yes.
Daddy and he became popular.
Yeah, it's the first time because I always we heard the name Puff Daddy, and I'm thinking it's gonna be I'm thinking it's gonna be this big, intimidating looking dude. When it came out with what happened at the game and everything with the trampling and all of that stuff, and they show a picture of him in the newspaper. I'm like, that little guy is Puff Daddy.
Right,
So
right, right, right. And in the beginning, they said he didn't drink, he didn't smoke. And then I understood what they meant about the freak offs. So the freak offs were early on. That was just like because, of course, Puffy got the throwing of the parties from his mama. They said his mama used to throw parties back in the day, and everybody used to come to his mama's parties, and he would be in there dancing and everything. So he got that knack from his mother. But then he started throwing parties, and I think that's where the freak offs happened. But at this time, he was into women. So it was just like, because there was a girl in there that said that, she was at a party and then a video came out and she didn't know about it. So I think that's where the freak off concept came from back in the day when he used to throw these wild, elaborate parties and anything went at the parties.
it also really underscores, and again, we talked about Eddie Murphy the other day. Eddie said it in his Delirious stand up. If you are in that business, the music business, and you have any type of popularity, you can get anybody you want, just about any woman you want. These women, knowing stuff about Diddy, still came around Diddy, still, you know, went to bed with Diddy, did what Diddy wanted to do, or whatever, just because he's Diddy, just because he was famous, just
Mhm.
because he was in the music industry.
And the funny thing, one of the funny things, come back, Greer, come back, Greer. One of the funny things was, and then I'll pass it over to you. The Crips, that because when Diddy came to town, they said that he was with this girl and he was all in her mouth, and they was laughing at him because they was like, she done sucked everybody's woo woo.
Oh gosh.
And they was laughing at him and they was like, you gotta know who you dealing with, bro. I mean, so he was just like, when I watched the documentary, it's juicy.
So now I gotta watch it. I wasn't gonna watch it. Now I gotta watch it.
It
Harlem.
is, I mean, it is good. It is
But
well done.
But something else I want to throw in there. Now, I've known Diddy for a very long time. I used to work with him. But I want to say this. The other thing, as I've watched him over the years, I think that Diddy has been also chasing the ghost of his father, who used to be a gangster uptown, right? He wanted to probably be badder than he was. You know what I mean? He wanted to
Yep.
get away
Yep.
with things because his father got killed in the street.
Mhm.
Okay, he got killed in the streets, and so even those parties that his mother threw, they were, what I'm saying, they was partying uptown with all the gangsters and things like that. And when her husband died, she wanted to continue that life, and so I didn't know about the parties or anything like that. I don't know anything about I knew about his father in the streets, but I didn't know about, the parties his mother threw and anything like that. I knew that she was trying to make sure that she maintained the life that she thought they should continue to have after the father died. So she did a lot of different things to make sure that they were able to maintain that. Right.
Well, they address all of that. They do address all of that.
But I do
In
definitely
the
want I just want to
documentary.
throw that in there, that his father dying in the streets and being a gangster. I think that I'm sure that there's some sort of persona in his head about who he needed to be and who he needed to represent himself to be in these streets. Because
Yeah, I mean, that's
he didn't
it.
say that Howard, he left, we were there at the same time. But he left, he threw parties, it got popular, you know what I mean? And he left, but he you know, he wanted to find that wasn't for him being,
Right.
you know what I mean? She probably was trying to set him up for that, living a straight life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he just, you know, he couldn't do it. And just imagine being a young kid. You know, I have a little bit of experience with that, with you hearing about your father being a gangster in the street and, you know, that sort of thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I mean, you know, of course, I knew my father, and he had his time when he had his time. But my point is that, you know, I think he's that ghost of his father being this gangster and all of that. I think that has followed him through his life.
Yeah, and they do address that in the documentary, and they talk about that, and they talk about how when his father died, his mother dressed Diddy in a chinchilla fur coat. She had him at the funeral in a chinchilla fur coat. And so all of those, you got to watch it, Greer. It is, when I tell you, it is well done.
Yeah.
Especially like the first 2.5, 3 episodes, it really gives you insight about how Diddy was jealous of Tupac too. And the night that he got shot, how Diddy pretty much set it up to where Biggie was pulled into a situation that he really had nothing to do with. It was all a setup. And Biggie knew nothing about it.
Wow.
And then the way that they do the scenes to where, you know, Diddy is acting like him and Biggie were these best friends, which was the appearance that we all got. And it really wasn't like that.
Yeah, I
It
kind
really
of
wasn't
figured
like
that
that.
too. I kind of figured that, but I think Greer hit the nail on the head earlier when she said that 50 knew he had this project. He had been working on it, and he had been keeping people engaged all this time because, you know, you would think that this was just going to be a simple hit piece,
Right.
and that's
No.
it.
And Reckoning is the perfect title for it, because this wasn't just about Cassie. This was about your reckoning, was this situation because of all the shit that you have done through the years and the people
Right.
that you have crossed. And even to the fact to where he made Biggie pay for his own funeral.
Yeah, yeah, I read that. Somebody mentioned that about this documentary that comes out in the documentary. Michelle Madison said, Neil,
Neil,
stop
stop,
telling
stop.
us.
I'm gonna stop. Everybody like, don't say nothing else. Don't say nothing else.
I
I
know you
want you
can't
guys
help
to go
yourself.
watch it, because I was so shocked and surprised. I was like,
Yeah.
this is delicious. Let me pop me some popcorn.
She got the popcorn out for it. Well, 50
Okay, we'll move on. I'm gonna let you guys go check that out. We'll talk about it again tomorrow. But the last
We'll talk
story,
about it again tomorrow.
we'll talk about it again. I mean, because when I tell you, when Diddy, I mean, even if his kids were to watch that documentary, they would learn some things about their daddy.
There's no doubt they watched it. There's no doubt they watched it. It's like, you know, you can't help but to not. His kids watched it. If they know about it, they watched it, right? Come on.
Yeah, it is good. Okay, last but not least, there's been a shakeup over at BET. Now, after 23 years, Scott Mills is officially he has stepped down abruptly at that as president and CEO, and Louis Carr, BET's president of media sales, will step in as the new president. Now, if you recall, under Mills, though, the nation has, I mean, not the nation, but BET has grown to BET Plus, to making its own movies, to its own studio company. And so much respect to Scott Mills. And it'll be interesting to see how this new president, Louis Carr, who's been around with BET for a while, takes over and leads the corporation under one of Trump's buddies, who now owns CBS and Paramount. So that'll be interesting to see how that shapes up.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll bring back the award shows, which they don't need
Oh,
to.
you mean
Just
Soul
one day.
Train and the BET Hip Hop Awards? Because
Right.
the BET Awards hasn't gone anywhere.
Right. Interesting stuff. Wow. Shake up at BET.
But
Still not-
and that's pretty much how they do it, though. they make the person that they know they're going to get rid of, they made him get rid of all of that. Remember, he had to,
Yeah.
Scott Mills made the
Exactly.
announcement. And so now the new president comes in and his slate is clean.
Yeah. Still not black owned.
Black led, but not black owned. I mean, you know, take a win where you can get one.
Okay. What else you got? What else you
No,
got?
that was it.
That's it?
Mhm.
As if that wasn't enough, right? Oh God. So I know that RNG's been waiting for this. He's been texting about it, chatting about it. So some Black History facts on this date in 1906. Yes, it is Founders Day. Alpha Phi Alpha was established at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, where it became the nation's first predominantly African American fraternity. So this is the anniversary of Alpha Phi Alpha, 1906.
The men of black and gold. Happy Founders Day. And in your neck of the woods, the New York Amsterdam News was established on this day in 1909 by James H. Anderson. No relation, unfortunately, or maybe so, I don't know. Now, he started the newspaper with a small investment of only $10 and 6 sheets of paper from his home in Manhattan. At the time, it was one of only 50 black newspapers in the country, and copies were sold for 2 cents a piece.
Wow. The Amsterdam News, boy, yes. In my neck of the woods, you're right. I grew up on the Amsterdam News. That was one of the papers. That was the black-owned paper that we had to have in our school. And it's still there. It's still thriving. It's still the Amsterdam News that I grew up on. They still do some really good stuff there.
Yeah, they really do. And so, speaking of the Amsterdam News, which is a member of the Black Press, they have stories on Black Press USA that you can check out, as well as get your daily dose of Black news that informs, empowers, inspires. And that's all at www.blackpressusa.com.
Hey,
Oh,
what's
there
up?
you go. There he is.
Oh, hey, Orangey.
Hey, I heard
Nice
the Black
to meet
History
you.
fact. What's going on? You see what's
Well-
on my chest, don't you? Huh?
Yes, I see. I see.
That is the original. That is the original. 1906, the founding fathers of Alpha Phi Alpha. That's at Cornell University.
Are you a alpha?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Are you an alpha?
Excuse me,
Uh-oh.
ma'am?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Oh, you just asking. Okay, I have to excuse you. I have to excuse you on that one. Yes, ma'am. I'm a distinguished gentleman of Alpha Phi Alpha.
Happy Founders Day. That's why I was asking. I wanted to tell you Happy Founders Day.
Oh, okay. I thought you was trying to be funny for a second. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Pump your brakes.
Look, I have on black and gold. I do.
Oh, there you go, sweetheart. You got some kind of
Well,
common
wait.
sense. Thank you.
See, she's got the black and gold, and I'm still repping you, ONG, because look, New Orleans. This is what I got
That's right.
today.
Yes. Yes,
Hey,
it's
while we have you, SWAC Sports tomorrow. What's going on this weekend?
this weekend. It is the SWAC championship game. Jackson State will take on Prairie View. Jackson State is the defending SWAC champions and defending HBCU champions. Prairie View, first-time head coach, has became the SWAC coach of the year, which has upset a lot of people in the SWAC because Coach T.C. Taylor, not only is he the defending SWAC champion, but he's on the cusp of going back-to-back SWAC championships. So it's a lot of anger and a lot of trash talking going on right now. So 2:00 on ESPN2, I will be live streaming the game also. And it's going to be a big party because it's Founders Day weekend and we ready to party. But y'all got to pay attention to this game because Jackson State fans feel disrespected because their coach did not receive the coach of the year and the players did not receive offensive player of the year or defense player of the year. So Jackson State, it has a lot. It's getting real tough right now to be on the internet. So if you're a Prairie View fan, you might want to stay clear from Jackson State fans. So I can't wait.
Are you and Neil gonna put a wager on this game too?
Listen, I tried to tell Miss Niel that Grambling did not have a chance. That is the fourth.
We did have a chance. We lost by 1 point. We had a chance.
Neil, I was at the game. Your field goal kicker missed 2 field goals within 5 seconds. Yes, they was driving down the field. They got in field goal range. Mm-hmm. The first kick, the Southern player ran into him. So they moved the ball up, 10 yards, and he tried to kick again and missed it again. So you had 2 opportunities within the last minute and a half to win that game. And in typical Grambling fashion, they lost. And to make it even worse, Southern had only won 1 football game that this past season. And this makes 4 years. Yes. And this makes 4 years in a row that Southern has beat Grambling in the Bayou Classic.
We won the Battle of the Bands, okay?
Halftime show, yes. Grambling did win the halftime show. I will. What's her name? I don't know her name really.
Glorilla.
Yes, I didn't know she was that tiny. She's a tiny little thing, but she did a real good job for the halftime performance. And
it wasn't JJ Fad though, right?
No. It's only JJ Fad came to. I got 3 pictures with every single one of the members of JJ Fad when they came to New Orleans.
Nice.
3 individual pictures.
Do they still have it?
I have them. I took the pictures. What you mean?
I said this JJ Fad still have it. Yeah, that was it.
The crowd goes wild when they do that. When they first start, when they say I'm JJ Fad, I'm here to rock, and then everybody just goes crazy. So,
oh gosh. Well, listen. On that note, we're gonna have to get on out of here. RNG, thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, so nice to I mean, I read you in the chat, but to hear your voice, that's the gift. Nice to meet you.
Watch them. You gotta watch RNG Swag Sports on YouTube.
I will. I might check out the game. The game on Saturday.
Yeah, come on up in here. We're liable to say anything up in here. I let guests come up on before the show, during halftime, and after the show. It's a real good time, man. And once again, happy Founders Day, and shout out to that new side chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Spring Line 1994. And it's party all weekend long.
All right, y'all. Thanks again.
And don't forget to check out Don, since we're talking about the Celebration Bowl. If you're in Atlanta, you want to check out Don tonight. Yeah, with Dr. Wes Bellamy and Dr. Jamal Bryant. They're talking about A Time to Yell More Than a Statue, which is Dr. Wes Bellamy's documentary about the tearing down of the Charlottesville Robert E. Lee statue. So great conversation. If you're in Atlanta, go check it out. And it should be a really good time.
Sounds like a plan. And Mike V says JJ Fad has a daughter who's a rap artist too. Would be interesting for you to interview her at some point. So you have an assignment, Neil.
Hey, let's talk about it.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Let It Be Known.